I really want to get like better background. I really do. Cause I've been looking at like getting into shelves because I want to put a shelf like maybe in this corner right here. But at the same time though, I need something like this. I need flowers or some type of color in the background because right now it's just white. And it's like who wants to watch somebody sitting in front of a white background? That's boring. Hi guys, it's Kate Pathig, I'm gonna figure out an intro one day, don't worry. But for now, suffer. So I already posted my first video. Yay! I'm really proud of myself for doing that because, I took time out of my week to not only film, but to edit and to create the outro, make sure that everything was going to plan. I did that. I did that. Now that I've proven to myself that I can do that in a week, upload, edit, and film. That's so reverse, whatever. That means that I have no excuses for my future self. Welcome back to another Sunday Showers. Like I said before, I'm not really sure how I want to start off my YouTube channel. So for now, I'm just gonna do my Sunday Showers because I believe that they're easy to make. They're easy to make. They get me used to being in front of the camera and there's minimal editing, minimal recording time. It's just it's very easy, very simple. This week's topic is going to be being comfortable with myself. Now, being comfortable with myself is a very broad topic because that is something that I've struggled with my entire life. As I said in the last episode, I was very much somebody who's always been like side character vibes instead of main character. I have plenty of examples where it's like I was always pretending to be somebody that, I really wasn't. And it has really altered my perception of myself. So that's the little summary of today's topic. Let's go ahead and jump into the conversation. I guess we can really go ahead and take this back to childhood. All right. So when I was younger, I was always somebody who was like, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Always trying to be friendly, always trying to be, that person where it's like, I can help you. I can be your friend. I don't think you're weird. Stuff like that. Because I've always wanted people to feel loved. I've always wanted people to feel wanted. You know what I mean? Well, with me being that way, I was considered strange to a lot of people, especially, early elementary school. I was just, I was a bigger black kid who was just way too overly friendly. That'll throw anybody off. Nah, not really. I'm just making excuses. So with me being the way that I was starting to get really well known around the school. Everybody knew my name. People would make fun of me. People would be my friends. But I was never really in a set friend group. I never really had that group of friends that I would hang out with during recess. It was always I would jump from what one person was doing to the other, just I don't know, literally flowing. As I said though, I would be made fun of for this. People would always say how I was weird, or sometimes I would just say hi to people and they didn't even know me. They would be like, how do you know my name? And I'll just be like, oh, I heard it around, and just walk off like everything's okay. And it's that right there, people aren't really welcoming to that. So, I think from a young age, I noticed things like that. I noticed how people were they never really wanted to be my friend per se. It was always more like oh yeah, I know you, you're cool, but will I hang out with you at recess? Probably not. So, being a kid of a young age like that, it never really bothered me. It was just I don't know, I never thought about it. It wasn't my concern at the time. All I cared about was, going home, drawing, watching cartoons, and, just living my best life. That was it. Fast forward a little bit, it's 5th grade, and I just now entered a new school. So, during this time, it's a new opportunity to rebrand myself, change who I am and all that, this and the third. But old habits die hard. When I entered this new school, you know, I became friends with pretty much everybody that I could. I still had my weird habits of, you know, getting to know everybody and like trying to be friendly with the whole crowd. And some people liked it, some people didn't, and that was okay. I'll never forget when we had indoor recess one day, right? And the popular kid of the grade, I was like chilling by myself or whatever, and I was drawing. And he saw it. He saw it and asked me if I could draw him. So I did, you know. This is back when I was okay with doing that. Now, don't ask me that. Unless I really like you, do not ask me that question. So I told him that I would give him the picture the next day after I finished it. Next day comes around. I show him the picture and he was like really impressed with like my drawing or whatever. It was like a big bobblehead picture. I remember. But fifth grade minds, I guess, thought it was like Picasso for real. And, you know, he was showing everybody my skills. He was showing everybody what I drew for him. And everybody started like really liking me for that. And I was just like, oh, okay, new friends. Yay. Okay, so now everybody around me is like trying to ask me for like commissions. Keep in mind, I'm fifth grade. They're not paying me. They're not paying me. So I was just like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll draw this for you. I'll draw that. And during this time, I was really like well known for like drawing Sonic. So they would ask me to draw like a lot of like Sonic fan art for them. So with this, I got like 50 plus orders. You want to know how much I did? 2. I did 2 because girl, that was a lot on me, a lot. And you know, some people got disappointed, so they stopped talking to me and I was like, well, okay, I guess. Anyways, so yeah, I just went back to drawing my own things and, you know, just talking to the people who actually liked me. I had a really passionate project that I was working on during this time. A project that I'm still working on till this day. And it's like people knew that during my free time, I would write about this story. I would draw fan art of this story and everything. There was people in that class who even helped me do what I wanted to do, right? They would help me create names, create like a plot and everything. I loved it. So one day I had came into school, right, with like the finished poster of the show. And it was like my proudest piece of work. I loved it, hands down. So I was showing everybody and, you know, they were praising me and whatever. And then I gave it to my guy best friend at the time, right? Out of nowhere, he drops it on the floor. He jumps on it and tears it in half. Like, he like did something with his legs and just, it ripped. And that is such a vivid memory for me because I remember exactly how I acted. Like, I watched him do it and I was in total shock. I was quiet. I pushed him off of it and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I pushed him off of it and I picked it up and it was like in half. It was so like, you know, picture and it was like in half. Just perfect. And I was just like, I was sad, but I physically couldn't verbalize it. I couldn't do anything about it. I was so shocked. So then I asked my teacher if I could go to the restroom and she let me, right? And as I walked out, I took the drawing, threw it away. I threw it away because I didn't even want to see it anymore. I was so hurt. I was so like, I couldn't function in my head, right? So I walked to the bathroom and I just like was just thinking to myself, you know, people thought I was crying. I wasn't. But it was like when I came back, people were like trying to make sure that I was okay and everything and how like how crazy it was for him to do that, you know, and I agreed with them. I was like, yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. I told them it was okay. And the boy who had did that, right? He comes up to me and gives me the drawing again, but like they had put like some type of like glitter glue to like try and repair it. But I remember when I looked at it, I was just like, I can't accept it. Like, I don't know. I was just so like, I didn't want it anymore. I just couldn't look at it. I didn't want to be reminded of it. I think I threw it away again because I don't have that drawing no more, right? But you know what I did do? I went home and redrew it better this time. I redrew it better. I changed her outfits. I did everything new. And that is a version that I still have till this day. And I think at that point, I stopped showing my drawings to people. I stopped doing it because I think that was like the biggest moment of my life. You know what? That just kind of like unlocked something for me. I just realized that ever since that day, I stopped showing my drawings to people because after that, sixth grade came along. I was always so secretive with my art. I never showed people what I drew. I never did that. You know, only people who were like in like the same fandom that I was in, I would show them those creations. Wow, I've always asked myself like, why did I all of a sudden get so secretive with my drawings? I think that was the reason. That must be the reason, because after that I stopped showing them. This is what I'm talking about. Me filming myself is my new coping mechanism. I used to have coping mechanisms where it was like, you know, I don't want to say them right now because I want to save that for a future date. But I used to be a really big meditator, right? Let me not say used to, because I still kind of do it, but it's like I was very inconsistent with it. I never really put my whole Badoosie in it, no. But instead of like journaling or just sitting on the floor thinking, you know what I did? I voice memoed. I have a bunch of voice memos on my phone for like my meditation sessions. And this is something similar, but now it's like I have to worry about how I look. A lot of things from an early age really affected me from like how I moved forward. So when it came to like, you know, pieces of my identity of like me being overly friendly or me being artistic, those were starting to like be hidden. And I didn't want people to get to know that version. So I remember in middle school, this is when the self-isolation really started kicking in. I had friends here and there, but like, once again, it was never like I had a set friend group. There was people that I liked and people that, you know, I settled for. I'm sorry, that sounds so mean to say, but it's like I crave such like deep friendships and like, you know, just wanting to be somebody's like first choice. But it's so hard for me to like accept it, I guess, you know. And I guess in a way that I was also very picky on who my friends were, because, you know, the people that I did hang out with, they were freaking nice. I love them till this day, but it was never like they were my people. You know, we really didn't have the same interest. We really didn't have the same outlook on life. It was just like, you're nice, you want to talk and hang out with me, so, you know, I'll talk and hang out with you. I feel like that's so mean to say, and I'm so sorry. So now we jump to high school. All right, freshman year. Freshman year, I remember me loving freshman year so much because I was really starting to get to know people. I was starting to open up again. You know, I was still a little weird kid or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I was starting to meet people who I really resonated with. And then the big C happened. COVID. That happened, and I got removed from every single person I considered a friend. That's nice. So, you know, I'm spending the first week alone and not really doing much besides drawing and playing Minecraft. And that's when I get added to a group chat on Instagram. MVPs. I love the MVP group chat. I'm still friends with a lot of them till this day, but you know, things happen. Anyways, so I get added to that group chat and I get introduced to a whole new perspective on friends. All of these people that I get introduced to, absolutely love them. They were people that thought like me, same interest as me, same everything. And till this day, I thank one person for putting me into that group chat, and his name is Caleb, and I love him so much. Hopefully one day y'all will meet him because I would love to have him in a video with me. I love Caleb. But yeah, he added me to the group chat, and after that, it was almost like he did change my life. Because if I hadn't interacted with any of those people during quarantine, then coming back to school would have been a whole mess for me, honestly. So we go back to school. It's really awkward. You know, school's not the same anymore. Wearing masks. Everybody's like quiet, don't really want to talk to anybody. And it's just like, ugh, whatever. So this was my sophomore year. You know, I did make a little bit of friends here and there. A little drama started happening for me and whatever. But, you know, it's high school, whatever. What's new? I would say during this time is really when things started to change for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and hurry up and like wrap this up and say like, so sophomore year I was in choir, right? And being in choir was like one of my biggest interests as a kid. I was so into like the whole singing and dancing that I was just like, yes, put me in it right now, coach. So I was in like a regular choir group, you know, one that just mainly sung, not really much of the dancing. And then there was one time where the choir director, right, he noticed how strong my voice was as an alto and was like, hey, I want to give you an opportunity in joining our show choir group. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I would love to be in it. Biggest mistake of my life. Let me stop playing because, you know, I loved show choir. I really did. It was just the decisions that I made in show choir that really messed everything up for me. So show choir itself, I don't really blame. So yeah, when I joined show choir, that's when things started really going downhill for me. You know, I started presenting myself as somebody that was completely against my morals and value, and I was starting to become somebody really nasty. So that is when things went downhill and I just lost myself completely. I started doing things that I said I would never do. I started saying things, girl, it was a mess. After that whole ordeal, graduation came along and I fell into a really big depression because it feels as though I wasted my entire high school years pretending to be this person that I wasn't. And, you know, I didn't even mention the things that like I would do for like school or whatever, just so I could impress my dad. That's another thing as well, where it was like, I would take honor classes, APs, you know, do extracurriculars that I really didn't even enjoy, just so like I could tell my dad and be like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know, love me and be impressed. But, you know, it never really did. And it just like, you know, few years later, come to find out that the person that I was all along always has impressed my dad. I never had to change for that. But yeah, that's kind of like a different topic. So I don't really want to get into that today. So basically, with all that being said, I really wanted to just, you know, show and emphasize that, like, you know, me losing myself was definitely like a lifelong process. And the reason why I was like never truly comfortable like being myself, there were so many things that led up to me not being comfortable with myself. You know, it's not necessarily an overnight thing where it's like, oh, I want to be this new person, so I'm going to start acting like this. No, it was years of built up trauma that made me transform myself to like the worst possible version of myself. you know, people trying to keep me small or people trying to like make me hide my talents. It was things like that where it was just, I don't know. They were like, it was basically trying to get rid of Caitlyn, trying to get rid of Kate. They didn't want to, I'm being very dramatic when I say this, but it was like they were trying to get rid of her and they were trying to never have her show her face into the light. Never. But we're here, baby. We're here. As I briefly mentioned, you know, there's certain things that I did that were against my morals and values, right? And one of them being intoxicated. I was always the type of girl who said, I will never be intoxicated by anything or whatever. And for now, I don't really want to mention what the thing was that I was, you know, influenced by. But yeah, it really did a number on me, I would say. But there was one thing for sure that being intoxicated like really showed me, and it was that whenever I was intoxicated, that was when I was most comfortable on being myself. It's like that thing they always say, intoxicated words are sober thoughts. And I was for sure like really open to saying whatever was on my mind when I was in this state of mind. And it was like the people that I would do these things with, it ended up creating like this false narrative that they were like my closest friends or whatever. But then once I stopped or slowly started getting out of it, I was realizing how when we were sober, there was nothing to talk about. I didn't feel comfortable talking to these people about like what I was doing or what I was wanting to do with my life because I was sober. I was scared of them, honestly. Like my soul was like, no, not them. Don't tell them anything. And you know, once again, it's gonna sound so rude, especially to the people who was like, you know, who were affected by, you know, my sudden like disappearance. And you know, that's gonna be another video for another day as well. So yeah, it was like I ended up like distancing, pulling away. I ended up pulling away from a lot of these people, and they noticed. But did I care? No, at the time I really didn't. That meant that now I had this bad habit, but I didn't have any people that I could share it with. You know what I mean? So then I started doing it on my own. When I started doing it on my own, that's when like a lot of realizations came along. I started like noticing things about myself, and it was just like I hated myself. Intoxicating, bad. That'll be a topic for another video one day. Like I said, there's a lot of videos that we're planning on making. Like really, I trust me, girlies. I have a lot in my mind. Like I told you guys, my mind is very stinky. Like there's a lot of stank up in there. So these videos are gonna be really enlightening, insightful. That's the word I was looking for. Insightful? Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Obviously, with me not being comfortable with myself, a lot of things started happening with the relationships around me, such as, you know, boyfriends and friends, family members, and all that. I wasn't comfortable being myself around these people, so it was like they were never really seeing the real Caitlyn. And that's really sad how they never got to know me. So then it's like when I started acting or started to become this new version of myself, people were like, why are you acting like this? Why are you acting like you're better than me? Why are you acting like you've never done this before? It's not the fact that I'm trying to act better than you, or it's the fact that the fact that I'm trying to, you know, act like I've never done it before. It's because I'm going back to who the true Caitlyn really was. And that's my bad. Like that is my fault because I got you introduced to this false alternative version of myself. She was never real to begin with. The Caitlyn that you met was all of the worst parts of me. There was a reason why I called myself egotistic during this time period of my life. Like there was obviously a reason, Kate. Obviously. My soul was trying to speak to me, and it was like, yeah, girl, pay attention to me. But yeah, when it came to my relationships, oh my god, I was so desperate for somebody to just stay with me and for somebody to just love me and stay and choose me, that I would try to like alternate myself into like, little Miss Perfect girlfriend. I want to get up close for this. So yeah, that then just became even like a worse thing for me after like my first big heartbreak. After my first big heartbreak, it was like, oh my gosh, please just love me. I will be the girl that you want. Please, please. Like, I was literally like, pick me, choose me. But obviously, that mindset doesn't work. If you are pretending to be somebody you're not, I'm telling you right now, that relationship will never last. It will never last. And I learned that the hard way. So please trust me, trust. After all of that, I just had to sit with myself and just be single for a long, long time. Having to just fix all the mindsets that I had and just having to really understand who I wanted to be and all that. And that time that I took for myself is something that I will never regret, because I feel like I became such a better person for it. Not really wondering about relationships, not really like flipping the whole house over friends and all that. There's a lot of friends that I have lost because of, this isolation period that I've been in. And honestly, a lot of them I'm really sad that I lost. Well, there's one in particular, but I guess we'll see what future intends for us or whatever. But yeah, it's just, things like that. And it's like with moving forward, I really question myself now, like, who are the people that I crave now? There's a lot of friends out there that I don't really speak to or whatever. And I'm always saying how I want new friends and whatnot. And I feel like that's such a rude thing to say, especially with the friends who I have now. First of all, let me get this clear right now. I love all of the friends that I have. I won't sit here and name all of them because reasons. And I just really want to emphasize that I love all my friends. But I don't know. I just feel like there's people out there who will understand me, soul, mind, clit, not playing. And it's just, I just can't wait to meet those people. I really can't. But, as far as, just friendships, I'm even like talking about relationships too. And then it was like, certain things I started realizing also about myself was, what type of relationship do I even want? With me starting this whole YouTube career, helping people and like, just enlightening them, and or just like, trying to make you guys laugh or whatever, is already going to be my whole career. So what do I really want out of a partner? Do I want a partner who I'm going to have to help all the time? Do I want a partner who's going to uncover all of my like unseen trauma? Or do I want that healthy balance of both of them? Or do I want to protect? There's so many questions of like, what is my perfect partner? I don't know. I have so many different types. One thing for sure is though, I know I do deserve a good relationship, especially romantic. I want one. I want it. I want it. So I'm literally going to stop at nothing to do and try and find that Mr. Right. I feel like I just splurted out a lot of words. And I'm pretty sure that I've said everything that were on my notes today. And it honestly feels that everything I did say came out really smooth. So, I think I did my big one today. I'm at the 40-minute mark and I'm very scared that my phone's going to turn off any minute now. So it's just like, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, guys. If you watched this video, thank you so much for your attention, because I know how boring these are right now. I know how boring Sunday showers are. Trust me, I know. But believe me, soon enough, I'm gonna give you guys content that's like the real content that I want to be making, and you guys are gonna love me for it, and you're gonna worship me and crave me more. Okay, stop. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. If you do watch this, I'm probably gonna get like 3 views on this. It's okay though. I love it. I just want to get used to like saying things like that though. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. And please, if you like me, follow me on my socials. You know, you can never have enough followers. You can never spread enough love. Spread the love. Kate Lations. Okay, bye. Okay. See, this is what I be talking about. This right here is a big reason why oh, hold on. So unladylike. Excuse me. Okay. I already have 30 minutes, so like I really have to like hurry up and like finish like what I'm talking about, because I don't know how much storage I have on my phone. This is not the person that oh my god, I just realized that I have been recording all this time with that thing. It's not noise canceling. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for the audio so far. Let me fix that. That is so annoying. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. I just experienced my first YouTube error.